Welcome to At Home with Music. I'm Leon Olguin. I want to talk today about sus chords, S-U-S. Now, as a piano player, or a keyboard player if you like, I really like sus chords. They're fun to play, and you can use them to add a lot of color and interest to your playing. And it's also fun to spot them when they are used in popular songs and in classical music. So, what is a sus chord? Well, first of all, sus is the shortened form of the word suspended. So the full technical name for this type of chord is a suspended chord. A suspended chord, or sus chord, is a musical chord in which the major or minor third is omitted and replaced with a perfect fourth or a major second. And so without that major third in the chord, you've got your three-note chord, you've got a major third between the root and the middle note, or a minor third. Now if you take that note out, you end up with this open sound, and you've got this dissonance between the fourth and fifth, or between the second and the root. And that creates tension that needs to be resolved. So what I'm going to do is switch to the overhead camera, and I will show you how sus chords are constructed. There are two basic sus chords, the sus4 and sus2 chords. I'll demonstrate starting with the basic C major chord. In the sus4 chord, which is also labeled simply as sus, as you can see here, a perfect fourth replaces the third of the chord. In the sus2 chord, which is sometimes called sus9, for reasons I'll explain another time, a major second replaces the third of the chord. So, sus4, sus2. Both of these sus chords have a perfect fifth from the root to the fifth. So, what are sus chords used for? Well, in both classical and popular music, suspended chords, sus chords, are used to hold back the resolution to the tonic chord. It resolves to the tonic. So if you're listening, say, to classical music, you'll find that classical composers carefully set up tension in need of resolution. And just when you think the resolution is about to arrive, they delay it one last time with a suspended chord. So at the core of what makes a suspended chord, a sus chord, so captivating is the interplay of tension and resolution. And that's a big part of what music is. It's tension and then resolution. So you have a typical chord progression, and a suspended chord introduces a sense of unresolved musical tension. And then that's resolved by moving to a major chord. And it can also be resolved by moving to a minor chord. So the interesting thing about sus chords is they are neither major or minor. You're suspending the third of that chord, whether it's C major or C minor, and of course you can do this in any key. You're suspending the third for a different note in the scale. The third, as you know, is part of the chord that determines major or minor. If you remove the third, you've just got an interval. You've got the perfect fifth. The sus chord works in both a major or minor context. And so sus chords in and of themselves are neither major or minor. So what I've done so far is I've created the two main types of sus chords, starting with a three-note triad. Now you can also create sus chords starting with a seventh chord. And so let's start here with this C7 chord, and we can create a sus chord by, once again, moving the third And now we have C7 sus. And once again, you don't have to put 4 in there. If you just write C7 sus, it is understood that you have moved this third up to a fourth. And of course, that just feels like it's got to resolve. And you can also do it the other way, C7 sus 2, where you would have to put the 2 in there. So C7 sus 4, resolving to C7, or C7 sus 2 also resolves to C7. You can even do this with a ninth chord. So here is C9, and you can do C9 suspended. That's kind of a nice chord, isn't it? Notice I'm going to have to play this with 2 hands. My fingers can't quite stretch that far. And then you can also do a C7 sus 2. That's not as common. Doesn't have quite the rich sound because you've got 2 Ds in there. Whereas with the C7 sus, or C7 sus 4 technically, you've got 5 different notes. You get a very rich sounding chord. You may occasionally see a chord labeled C11. And so this is essentially the C sus chord. And the 3rd and the 5th have been taken out. A less common category of sus chords is the suspended 2-4. Which includes both the 2nd and the 4th. And so we add an extra note, as it were. We've got a 2nd, and we've got the 4th. And this, of course, obviously has to resolve back to C major, because we're still in the key of C. Now, one of the most famous examples of this particular suspended chord is in the last movement of Beethoven's last piano sonata. You can see it here. Right there in the left hand. It's a little bit easier to see down here in the right hand. Gives it a very interesting, almost mysterious kind of sound. And then, of course, it resolves back to C major triad. You want to listen to Beethoven's Piano Sonata number 32. It is truly an amazing piece of music. Now, what you can do is to play sus chords in every key. We're going to start by just simply playing C major chord, and then we'll play C sus 4, and resolve back to C, and then C sus 2, and resolve to C. Now, I'm just playing a single note in the bass to give the left hand something to do. If you want to get really fancy, you can play full chords with both hands. Then, we're going to invert the sus chords like this. And then another inversion. Now we're back here again. So you're going to play this. And then this. And then this. But of course, this is only one part of the challenge, because you can also do this in minor. So what we're doing here is getting you used to hearing the sound of these sus chords and how they resolve. Not only can we do this with C major and C minor, but we can also do this with F major. Or F minor. Well, I think you can see where we're going with this. So your assignment for this video now is to play through this little exercise that I've shown you. And we're going to do this in every key, major and minor. And this will get you used to the sound of the sus chords and their resolutions. So if you have any questions or comments, you can leave those in the comment section. Once again, I thank you very much for watching and for subscribing to the channel. By the way, though, majority of my viewers are not subscribed. So if you have not yet subscribed to At Home with Music, I encourage you to do so. That helps the channel a lot. And for those of you who have subscribed, thank you so much. I'm very, very grateful.